My name is Madison. I'm 28 years old, and I'm the first doctor in my entire family. I always believed that the day my name was called on stage as Dr. Madison, my mom and dad would be sitting in the front row. My mom would be crying with happiness, and my dad would be taking so many pictures on his phone that half of them would turn out blurry. I thought 7 years of hard work, sleepless nights, anxiety, exams, would finally be rewarded on that one day. I was wrong. On the morning of my graduation, I woke up before my alarm. My heart was racing. For a few moments, I just stared at the ceiling, pretending my life was completely normal. Then reality hit. This was the day. Today, I was supposed to be called a doctor. I got ready slowly, shower, pressed shirt, the black gown that still felt like a costume. Standing in front of the mirror, I tried to see myself the way I wanted my family to see me. The first doctor in the family. On top of my cap, I had written, "First doctor in the family." In that moment, it felt less like pride and more like a question. Then my phone rang. It was my mom calling. Relief washed over me. I assumed they were already on their way. Smiling, I said, "Mom, have you left yet? If you come early, you'll get good seats." But her voice was too casual. "Sweetheart, listen, we mixed up the dates." My mind froze. "What?" She rushed on. "Your brother's barbecue is today. Clients are coming, lots of people are invited. Your father has been marinating the meat since yesterday. Cancelling now would be rude." I asked quietly, "So you're not coming to my graduation?" There was a short pause. Then that familiar sigh. "Why are you being so dramatic? We'll celebrate properly next week." That one sentence broke something inside me. Next week. As if this were an ordinary day. As if this moment could ever happen again. That's when I understood. It wasn't just my graduation they were missing. It was me being chosen last once again. Hearing my mom's words, my hand tightened around the phone. "Mom, this isn't a normal day," I said softly, but my voice was heavy. "I worked 7 years for this moment. This is the day parents are supposed to be there." I heard some movement on the other end. Then my dad's voice came through. "Give me the phone." He spoke in that same calm tone he always used when he thought I was overreacting. "Madison, don't make this into something bigger than it is. We're proud of you. But honestly, it's just a ceremony. They call your name, people clap, and it's over. You're already a doctor." I closed my eyes. If they truly supported me, they would be there today. That thought stayed in my chest as I said out loud, "If you were really proud of me, you'd be there for me today." My dad's voice hardened slightly. "You know how much planning went into this barbecue. Your brother builds his entire network through events like this. People are expecting us. We can't cancel everything just to sit in a crowd and listen to the names of strangers." Then he said the sentence, the one I had heard my entire life. "Don't be dramatic." As if my feelings were just an inconvenience. As if every pain I felt was nothing more than exaggeration. Behind me, my cap and gown were hanging on the closet door. I had always imagined that after the ceremony, we'd take pictures together, laugh and feel proud. But that image shattered in that very moment. "Okay," I said flatly. "I understand, enjoy the barbecue." My mom came back on the line. "Don't say it like that. We'll celebrate, you're very strong. Send us pictures, we want to see you." I ended the call. For a while I stood in the middle of my room. the phone still pressed to my ear, as if the voice might return. One thought crossed my mind. What if I don't go to the ceremony at all? Then another thought followed. They would say I got too emotional, that I turned out weak. So I went. I drove alone to the university. Every car in the parking lot had "Congrats Grad" written on it. Families stepped out carrying flowers and balloons. And me. I walked alone. Inside the hall there was noise, cheering, clapping, laughter. I sat in my assigned seat. On both sides of me were reserved signs, meant for my family. I couldn't bring myself to remove them. When we were asked to stand and wave to our families, arms shot up everywhere. Phones flashed. Names were being shouted. I looked at the place where my family should have been. There were only strangers. I lifted my hand halfway, then lowered it. No one noticed. The ceremony continued. Names were being called, people were clapping, families stood up and cheered. Every time a graduate walked across the stage, a wave of noise rose from their section. And every time, it hit the same wound in my heart. It wasn't jealousy. It was realization. This is what normal looks like. And I had never had it. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I glanced down quietly. It was a message from my brother. I opened the photo. A backyard barbecue. Smoke rising from the grill. People laughing. And in the background, my mom and dad. My dad had tongs in his hand. My mom was holding a bowl of salad. They looked relaxed. Happy. Present. The caption read, "Wish you were here, face fire." At that exact moment the announcement came. "Next row, please stand." That row. My row. My hands started to shake. My throat tightened. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a choice. Then my name was called. Dr. Madison Carter. I walked onto the stage under the bright lights. I forced my smile so wide my cheeks hurt. I shook the dean's hand. I took the diploma. I gave the same perfect pose they had taught us for the camera. There was no cheer from the crowd. No voice shouting, "That's my daughter." The professional cameraman scanned the audience, searching for proud parents. I already knew. He wouldn't find any. After the ceremony, graduates poured outside. Flowers, hugs, photos, tears, laughter, everything was there. I stood off to the side, gripping my diploma, pretending to scroll through my phone so I wouldn't look as lonely as I felt. Then a woman, probably another graduate's mother, stopped near me. "Sweetheart, would you like a photo? I can take one of you and your family." I smiled faintly and said, "It's just me, my family couldn't make it." Something shifted on her face, sadness mixed with anger. "Their loss," she said. "You deserve better." She took a picture of me, standing in front of the fountain, cap and gown on, sunlight in my eyes, diploma in my hands. "Congratulations, doctor," she said and walked away. That night I posted that photo. The caption was simple. "First doctor in the family. My family couldn't make it." Likes came in. Comments followed. Classmates, teachers, friends. But the names I was looking for never appeared. At the same time, my brother posted another story. The same barbecue. The same laughter. And that's when I understood. They hadn't mixed up the dates. They had mixed up me. And in that moment I decided I would never forget this day. After the ceremony, I went straight back to my apartment. No dinner plans. No celebration. Just silence. I dropped my keys on the table and hung my cap and gown over a chair. They looked like part of a bad joke. My phone kept vibrating, scattered congratulations messages. But the one message I was waiting for never came. Then another notification appeared. My brother. Another photo. The backyard was full. The grill was on. People were laughing with red cups in their hands. And my mom and dad completely relaxed. The caption read, "Wish you were here, face fire." I sat down on the floor, my back against the couch. I zoomed in on their faces. They looked perfectly normal. As if nothing important had happened today. That's when the truth hit me like a stone in my stomach. They hadn't forgotten. They had chosen. I opened the family group chat. My fingers were shaking as I typed. Today I became a doctor. You chose a barbecue. I won't forget this. Typing bubbles appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. My mom replied. We said we'd celebrate next week. Why do you turn everything into drama? Your father worked very hard for that barbecue. No apology. No admission of fault. Just excuses. Tears streamed down my face. I felt like that same little girl again, the one who was always left on the side. School functions. Awards. Moments that only come once. When the crying stopped, what remained wasn't softness. It was clarity. One thought kept repeating in my mind. If they could miss this day, they could miss any day. I opened my laptop, typed into the search bar, legal name change process. At first it was just a thought. Then a possibility. Then a decision. I needed the Madison to die, the one who still hoped that one day they would choose her. I pulled an old box from the closet. Inside were letters from my grandmother, my dad's mother. She was the only one who showed up to every event, who always wrote, "I'm proud of you." Her last name was Murphy. I said the name out loud. Murphy. It didn't taste like neglect. It tasted like choice. On the form I wrote, first name Madison, last name Murphy. My hand shook at first, then steadied. This wasn't just paperwork. It was taking control of my life back. That night, for the first time, I felt it clearly. Enough. I was done. The next morning I went to the courthouse. There was no dramatic scene. No questions. The clerk stamped the form like it was just another routine task. To her it was only a file. To me, it was the end of Madison Carter. As I walked out of the courthouse, I sent certified letters to my parents. Simple, cold and clear. Effective immediately, my legal name will be Dr. Madison Murphy. Please update your records accordingly. No explanation. No apology. No emotional paragraphs. That evening my brother called. His tone was full of anger. Have you lost your mind? Mom is crying. Dad says you're embarrassing us. You're changing your name over one barbecue. Looking at the barbecue photo still on my screen, I said, I'm not doing this because of one barbecue. I'm doing this because of a lifetime. He laughed and said, You're seriously overreacting, Madison. I replied immediately, Murphy, and I'm not overreacting. I'm protecting myself. The call ended. That night I did one more thing. I opened the family Facebook album, the barbecue one. Smiling photos. The image of a perfect family. I added my lone graduation photo. Then I changed the caption to Wrong priorities documented. Then I logged out. Then I deleted it. That night I looked at myself in the mirror. For the first time I didn't ask myself, why am I not enough? The answer was clear. The problem had never been me. The name change would take time to become official. But in my heart, Madison Murphy was alive that very day. I started applying for jobs in another city. Some were in my field, others just to cover rent. One mental health clinic made me an offer. The director was honest with me. The pay is low, the workload is heavy, and many of our patients come from deeply complicated family situations. I smiled. Messy families. Perfect. While packing, I had to perform an autopsy on my old life. Books, notes, photos. The photos hurt the most. In every one of them, my brother was centered. I was either cropped out or blurred at the edge. I sealed those pictures in a box and wrote one word on it. Before. In the new city, no one knew who I used to be. On my first day at the clinic, I told the receptionist, Dr. Madison Murphy. The name felt strange for a moment, then completely right. That's where I met Ava, a senior therapist. Tired eyes, a sharp mind, and a way of listening that made silence feel safe. After a particularly hard day, she set her pen down and said, Parents always claim they did their best. Then we see the children walking around, picking up the pieces. Something opened inside me. Yeah, I said. Some stories aren't written from theory, they're written from experience. She looked at me closely. That sounds like your story. That night I created an anonymous blog. I called it Dr. M. I started writing about invisible children, golden children, and parents who say don't be dramatic when you show them the wounds they caused. One post was titled, When Your Parents Skip Your Graduation for a Barbecue. I ended it with, When people label you as overreacting, ask yourself, why does the truth make them so uncomfortable? The comments began to appear. This happened to me too. I thought I was the only one. Thank you for writing this. My story was no longer just mine. It had become a signal. And that's when I understood. This wasn't silence. This was my voice. For 3 years my world and theirs stayed separate. No proper phone calls. No, we're sorry. Just formal holiday emails as if I weren't family, just an old contact. During that time my blog kept growing. I wrote about invisible children. golden child syndrome, and parents who respond to pain by saying, "You're overreacting." One day, a mental health magazine shared one of my posts. No names. Just Dr. M. I didn't think much about it. I hit publish. Then my phone started ringing. Unknown numbers. Call after call. I ignored them. Then a text came through. "Madison, please, it's Mom. This is very important." That old conflict stirred inside me. Fear mixed with useless hope. That night I listened to the voicemails. My mom's voice was shaky. "Madison, people are talking. Your father is furious. Your brother's clients are pulling back. People are saying we're abusive parents. Do you have any idea what you've done?" The second voicemail was sharper. "This was a private family matter. You turned us into villains on the internet. It was just a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding. To them. When Ava heard the messages, she said only one thing. "They're not calling because they understand your pain. They're calling because now they can see their own losses." That same day, an email arrived from a journalist. They specialized in family estrangement. "Your story matters to a lot of people," they wrote. "We'd like to interview you." My phone started ringing again. My mom's number. I held it in my hand and asked myself, if I answer now, who am I betraying? Them or the girl who sat alone at her graduation? I didn't pick up. A few days later, another message came. "Please talk to us, we're desperate." Desperate. But the words "I'm sorry" were still nowhere to be found. That's when I understood something clearly. As long as my silence cost them nothing, they stayed quiet. But when my voice began to touch their reputation and their money, they finally woke up. And the truth was painfully clear. They didn't want me back. They wanted my story to disappear. Eventually, I returned the call. But with conditions. "We'll meet," I said. "But in a public place. No shouting. No rewriting the story. Just the truth." My mom agreed immediately. Maybe because she still believed she had control. We met at a cafe. Between cities with glass walls, where everything could be seen and heard. When I walked in, my mom stood up. She stepped forward for a hug. I stopped. "Hi," I said. "Dr. Murphy." For a brief moment, irritation crossed my father's face. He didn't like that name. We ordered coffee. The small talk was forced, like strangers trying too hard. Then my mom began. "Because of you, we're in trouble. People are asking questions. Your brother's sponsors are leaving. Your father's reputation is being damaged." I pulled out my phones, placed a screenshot of the family group chat on the table. My message, their reply, and my father's words. "Don't be dramatic." "Is this a lie?" I asked. My father said, "We made a mistake. But not every mistake needs to be exposed to the world." I looked at him and said, "A mistake happens once. A pattern lasts a lifetime." My mom started crying. "We always supported you. Books, tuition, we paid for everything. Support isn't just money, I said. Support means showing up. People around the cafe were watching. I did lower my voice. After a lifetime of silence, I wanted witnesses. My father said, "You're destroying our family image online. This is betrayal." I replied calmly, "Betrayal is a lie. The truth is just exposure." My mom asked, "What do you want?" "A public apology." "Do you want us on our knees?" I looked her in the eyes. "I wanted you at my graduation. Now I just want you to admit that you didn't choose me." For a moment there was no sound. Then my father said, "So what now? You'll come back home, and we'll move on." I took documents out of my bag. Legal name change papers. My license. Clinic registration. "This is my name," I said. "Madison Murphy. This is my identity. And you don't get to claim it." My mother's hand trembled. "So you're cutting us out of your life?" I shook my head. "No, I'm just removing the place in my life where I was always optional." My father snapped, "You'll regret this." I stood up. "Maybe. But I'll regret even more being the girl who spent her entire life begging for approval." I walked out of the cafe. The sun was harsh, but my breath felt lighter. People call me selfish now, but I know better. This isn't selfishness. It's self-respect. I didn't change my name. I just removed from my story the people who never chose me. And if anyone asks, isn't it necessary to stay silent for family? My answer is simple. Where you are optional, staying isn't loyalty. Walking away is the first act of love. For yourself.